the top 10 Spring Breakout 2026 candidates on today's episode of Warning Track Power. This is number 13. If you guys are coming over from the short, thanks a lot for the support. We're going more in depth than that short did here on episode 13. Let's get into it. For starters, if you don't know what Spring Breakout is, it is the third annual event where from March 19th to March 22nd, every team in Major League Baseball creates their roster of their top prospects and pits them against teams' other top prospects. And we are going to have in this episode the top 10 guys to be watching this spring breakout due to the fact that they are the top 10 prospects in the game of baseball at the moment and will be fighting for a major league roster spot on opening day and to prove themselves here in spring training that they are capable of hitting and performing at the major league level. So let's get into it. Starting here at number 10, we have the Detroit Tigers outfielder Max Clark. He is 21 years old and last year in the minor leagues boasted a .271 batting average with an .835 OPS. He hit 14 home runs and stole 19 bags while having a 14.7% walk rate, which is 94 walks to 90 strikeouts. And his scouting grades, he's got 70 to 80 speed, 60 power, 60 to 70 defense with, and I describe as plus range and arm, which is very, very positive for a guy who is likely going to be a prototypical leadoff guy, and he is the number 2 rated prospect in the Tigers system. We will get to the other prospect for the Tigers later in this video. But Max Clark, he's kind of your prototypical leadoff guy. He's got the flash. He'll play outfield. I see him probably sliding in center field possibly later this year as well. Their Tigers have Riley Green in left and Kerry Carpenter in right, but center field is kind of open, and I think Max Clark is the perfect guy to put in that spot. Moving swiftly along to number 9 on the list, Colt Emerson, the Seattle Mariners shortstop/infielder at the ripe age of 19. In 130 minor league games last year, he hit 16 home runs and drove in 78 runs. He hit .285 on his batting average and had an .841 OPS last season, stole 14 bases. And those scouting grades, which I have on all of these prospects, by the way, he's got a 65-80 hit tool, a 55 power with very, very, very high defensive versatility. Colt Emerson is likely to be the third baseman or shortstop of the future, whatever, for the Seattle Mariners, whatever they want to do with Cole Young, their major league prospect guy who was up a little at the end of last year. Maybe he's the shortstop, especially with J.P. Crawford becoming a free agent at the end of this season. But I would think that this team for the Mariners, Emerson should be up probably before the end of this year. If he's not up really early, that wouldn't surprise me if he was up early, but at the same time, I do feel that they don't want to rush him up, especially because he's only 19. The number 8 prospect in baseball, Samuel Basallo, in 31 major league games with the Orioles, he is a catcher first baseman. He hit .165, which is not good, but in the minors, he did hit .270. 4 home runs at the major league level, 23 in the minors last year. Major league level, .559 OPS, but in the minors, .966. He does have a 21% barrel rate, and his scouting grades, he's got 70 power, 70 arm, Only 55 hit tool, and he's not very good defensively. He is a very much bat first catcher, so he is likely going to split time next year with the Orioles as a catcher, first baseman, DH. I would see Basayo is also rated in the top 20 for fantasy baseball catchers. So if you're in a big league, maybe you take a flyer on him because small sample size of 31 games, he's got some good upside. Now, disclaimer before I get into number 7, he does have a UCL surgery that is going to potentially derail his spring training and his season. It is the Texas Rangers shortstop and slash third baseman at 19 years old, Sebastian Walcott. Last year, I'm highlighting him because last year he hit 255 with 13 home runs, 32 steals, drove in 59 runs. He has a 741 OPS plus with a 13% walk rate, 70 grade power, 70 grade arm, a 65-70 grade hit tool, and scouts are saying he's got 40 home run upside and 60 defense grade. Walcott is one of my favorite prospects in the game, to be honest, just because of some of his defensive versatility on the left side of that infield. I think he has promise. I don't know if he has 40 home run promise like the article I was reading was saying, but I mean, he's putting on some muscle as he gets older, and he's only going to get better and better. So watch out for Sebastian Walcott. Moving on to the other guy who made big league starts last year. He is still a qualified rookie last year because he only threw 48 innings instead of 50. It's Nolan McLean of the New York Mets. Last year in the MLB, he went 5-1 with a 2.06 ERA with 57 strikeouts and a 1.04 whip, that is walks hits per innings pitched. So he is only allowing one walk or hit per inning that he throws. He's got a 60 grade fastball, 70 grade sweeper, 60 grade curveball. Also features a cutter and a sinker with high baseball IQ and aggressive pitching style as described by scouts. He sits 94 to 96 on his fastball, and his pitches look like absolute blitzball. Like, he looks like he is throwing blitzball pitches out there with the amount of break that he generates on some of his pitches. It is honestly insane what he does with the baseball. He's nasty. He's going to be the Mets 2 starter next year behind Freddie Peralta, and I'm interested to see what he does in a full season of play. He is definitely an NL Rookie of the Year candidate for sure. Next up, we're in the top 5 with number 5 is the St. Louis Cardinals infielder J.J. Weatherholt. At 23 years old, he hit 306 in the minors last year with a 421 on base percentage and a 510 slugging percentage, 17 homers and 23 steals. He had a 0.99 walk to strikeout ratio. He's got 75 hit tool, elite plate discipline, a 50 to 55 power. Speed is at a 55-60. He had a 1,000 fielding percentage. He did not make a single error at second base last year in the minor leagues. And very high defensive versatility, obviously. With that, he is one of the most highly touted prospects in the game, as clearly shown by that. And I would not at all be surprised if the Cardinals had him up playing second base on opening day, especially with some of the moves that they've made to salary dump and just to get rid of guys. Like, I think Brandon Donovan leaving was J.J. Weatherholt getting the keys to being the second baseman of the future for the St. Louis Cardinals. Up one to number 4, the athletic shortstop Leo Dallas DeVries, or Leo DeVries. At 19 years old, he's a switch hitter who hit 255 with an 806 OPS and 15 home runs and 11 steals last year in the minor leagues. He was included in the Mason Miller trade he went from the Padres to the Athletics. And his scouting grades off the charts. 65 hit tool, 65 power, 50 on the defense, which is a little 55 speed is a little but still. He is still one of the best prospects in baseball. And I would not be surprised if he gets the call up this year, and it will definitely be before. I think it's going to be before the September call ups. I think he's going to get his shot to play with the Oakland Athletics. Up one once more to number 3, Jesus Made, the Milwaukee Brewers shortstop, second baseman, 19 years old, a switch hitter. He hit .285 last year with a .792 OPS, 6 homers, 47 stolen bases, 67 walks to 108 strikeouts. Is a little questionable, but he's got a 70-80 grade hit tool, a 65 speed, and very high defensive floor. So he's only going to get better. Once again, he's 19 years old, so this spring he's going to look to cut those strikeouts and get those walks, keep those walks where they are and get them up if possible. But cutting the strikeouts is big, and then I have no doubts that he will be up before the end of the year. We'll go to number 2 now with the number 1 prospect in the Detroit Tigers system, shortstop Kevin McGonigal. At 21 years old, he hit .305 last year in the minor leagues with a .991 OPS and 19 home runs, 59 walks to 46 strikeouts. He won the Arizona Fall League MVP in 2025 and an 80 hit tool, 65 power, elite plate discipline, and fielding versatility. You can see why he's the number 1 prospect in the Tigers organization. However, he is kind of blocked by Gleyber Torres, who's playing second, and Javier Baez, who's playing short. But Torres obviously is on a 1-year deal, so if he's not up by the end of this year, I mean, maybe you could slide him in at third, but if he's not up by the end of this year, he will definitely be on the roster next year. And now the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the number 1 prospect in baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates shortstop/outfielder, Connor Griffin, at 19 years old, mind you. He put up last year in the minors 21 home runs and 65 stolen bases, a .333 average, and a .165 WRC plus, which led all qualified minor league hitters. He has a 70 speed grade, 70 power grade, a 70 arm grade, and a 60 defense grade. He is the preseason favorite for NL Rookie of the Year. And I also would not be surprised if he gets his shot on a big league roster with the Pittsburgh Pirates this year, or on a similar path that they took with Paul Skeens. Start him in the minors for a little bit, call him up in May, and just let him go crazy. But at 19 years old, this guy is an absolute machine of a prospect. So there you go. I've given you the top 10 guys to watch during the 2026 Spring Breakout. Let me know what you guys are thinking and when these guys are going to get called up down in the comment section. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, because that lets me know that you guys are liking the content. And we are just a few feet short of the fences, unlike Connor Griffin's homers, all in on the game on Warning Track Power. This has been episode 13. We'll see you next time.